is Bronze and Modern Gods, and it's a bonus episode featuring your questions, your comments, plus visits from Hiram from Hiram's Collectibles on Instagram with his underrated book of the week. We also have the Instagram Market Watch with Ali from Elite_Comics11. Some major big boy sales this week on Instagram Live. We're going to cover those big movers and shakers. But first, it's time for Richard.
Our
viewer mail.
You've got mail.
Stop that. Don't hit me with that without warning me.
I like keeping you on your toes.
Oh, well, I'm not on my toes.
Why don't you hit the first piece of viewer mail?
Okay. First one comes from Ben Ellison. Love the Doom.
Ooh.
I have followed it for years, and you probably have the nicest copy out there other than the 9.8 currently at $15,000. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I have a collection of them. I've sold some recently, but I still have 14.
I'm referring to your Marvel superhero number 20.
Correct.
Dr. Doom, that you got the 9.6 that you showed off last week. And
right. Thank you for the context. Yes. To me, it was one of the books that I bought. I noticed it was undervalued significantly when I first picked them up. They were like $50. I was picking up decent copies, $100 for, much better copies. And I was buying them as I came across them. And the market has changed now. The book is desirable, and you can no longer buy it for $100. You can't buy it for $200 anymore.
I'm giving you full credit on that one. You were snapping those things up, and I was kind of looking off to the side like, oh, that's cute. He's back collecting and he's learning.
So now I have this coven of them, and eventually I'll get them all graded. Right now, because of CGC, it's a difficult process. But yeah, that is one of my favorite books, and I'm happy to have a variety of them. And at some point, I did a video on the collection and grading the different versions or different copies of this book, and we'll post that video at some point here in the future.
Awesome. My first piece of viewer mail is from Fat Wolverine 1980 on Instagram. Don't call yourself fat. You're fine the way you are. Don't body shame yourself.
That's right. You do you.
Yeah, you're healthy, Wolverine 1980. He says, "Hey guys, love the show. Thank you. Was wondering if you had any advice on this spec book I picked up a few months ago. Avengers number 43, the first appearance of the Red Guardian. It has dropped some value these last couple of weeks, but I think with David Harbour from Stranger Things playing him in the new Black Widow movie, it might bring up the value after the movie has dropped. Do you agree, or would the week leading up to the release be the best time to look for sales?" Well, first of all, is the Black Widow movie ever coming out? That's the first.
That's a good question.
Coming out in July. We got it. We believe you this time. Theaters are open. I think it will happen. I think this movie is a victim of the pandemic. I think any momentum, any joy, any strength behind Black Widow as a spec has just been kind of drained dry by this thing dragging out. Kind of what I think is happening with Eternals. I mean, Thank God they finally dropped a mini trailer for Eternals. Trailer for Black Widow looks good. The first appearance of Iron Maiden in Marvel Fanfare is still doing okay. The first appearance of the Black Widow in Tales of Suspense is doing fine. Red Guardian, that's a tough one. Soviet super soldiers are getting some action. Their first appearance at the Winter Guard in Captain America is doing okay. I think we're going to go with the typical thinking with movie trailers and spec books. When the next trailer drops, sell it. If you're speccing on it and you want to get rid of it, do it. Don't wait for the movie to open. The minute the movie opens, I won't say it plummets like a stone, but look at Miss Marvel number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think you're exactly right, John. The time to sell this book is when the trailer drops. But so much time has gone from the first trailer for this movie to the later trailer. All the steam is out of the sails, but you could still profit, depending on what your buy-in to this was. When this next trailer drops, sell immediately. Don't wait for the movie, because when the movie comes out, it's too late. It's already traditionally going on the slope downward. And then you'll have to wait. Well, there isn't going to be a Black Widow 2. So
I'm going to throw a caveat in there. They're not really a spoiler because I haven't seen it. Not really a spoiler for Loki because I haven't seen it. This is all rumor. But if Loki's interfering with the time stream and manipulating things, Ms. Scarlett Johansson could very well come back to life.
That's true. I've seen the first Loki. I think it's excellent, and I think there are possibilities with him messing around with time. But I don't know if I would bet the farm
Not on Red Guardian.
Right, not on Red Guardian. On her first appearance, I might hold pat instead of selling. But for Red Guardian, I think I would liquidate whatever you have because I think this is going to be your best shot.
And, you know, who knows? Maybe the Black Widow movie is going to be amazing and have like some Easter eggs and some surprises that we're just not even aware of. I just don't think it's going to affect the Red Guardian as a character.
Right.
You know, I don't think we're going to have a Red Guardian spin-off movie anytime. No. So I think you're safe. All right. What's your next one, Richard?
My next one is from Jason Brownell.
Again,
friend of the show. I've heard you mention of your childhood collections many times. Do either of you have any of those original books? With all the 9/8s, I would love to see a book you beat to hell as a kid, but would never get rid of. Yes, I do have my original collection. I actually gonna post a picture here of when I rescued my collection from my mother's house. It had been sitting there for 35 years. As I climb up the stairs to the attic where they have been sleeping, here's Fruit Brute. Fruit Brute, glow like Fruit Brute on from when I was a kid. I put it up there. It's 35 years old sitting up there.
All right, let me here. For the kids out there that don't know who Fruit Brute is, the monster cereals were a big deal by General Mills in the 70s. You had Frankenberry, Count Chocula, a Boo Berry, and then you started getting these other spin-offs like Yummy Mummy and Fruit Brute. And they had like a prize in the cereal, and the prize for a long time were these glow-in-the-dark light switch stickers. We had them.
Yep.
Boo Berry one, it glowed blue in the dark. It was cool.
They were cool.
Yeah.
You know, when you're that age, everything's cool.
Oh, Fruit Brute.
But I rescued 6.5 long boxes worth of comics. I got a picture of those here as well. These are right after I pulled them out of the attic. They had been sitting in the attic since the 80s. And it's what really got me started into comics again is pulling these books out and the nostalgia factor of seeing all these books, the books I have, I remember reading. And so that got me started again. In terms of books that I still have, I have a majority of the original collection. Probably one of my favorite books is I have a dog-eared Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #2.
Wow.
It has some damage. I'll probably never get it graded because it's just not of a quality that I think is worth it. But I'll never get rid of it. I mean, it is a book that is part of my permanent collection because I remember buying that book and I remember being excited. I remember the comic book guy Dave selling me the book and telling me, you had just missed issue #1, but issue #2 is really good. Here, you should buy it. And he put it in my pile. Yeah, so that's my collection story. What about you, John?
Yeah, it's not as good. It's pretty sad. My family was very nomadic. Between kindergarten and 9th grade, we moved 7 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was always the new kid in school. I was always, catching up, and we had to move light. Now, we weren't like fugitives or anything like that. It was just, the 70s and early 80s, freewheeling, free spirits. So as a result, none of my childhood books have survived. And then I joined the Army. So I had to travel and I sold my entire collection twice. So I was always rebuilding, but luckily I've been pretty stable for the last 25 years or so, or 20 years or so. So it's a bummer. I really wish I had my Captain America 155, that I found on the playground in kindergarten, but alas, I do not.
You have its spiritual successor though, right?
I have a nice minty copy of it, and that makes me feel just as good, if not better. Hey, thanks, Jason. Thanks for bumming me out. Our next one, our next one is from Captain Nice, and he writes, Yellow Claw #1, which we talked about last week on our show and tell episode, is also the first appearance of FBI agent Jimmy Woo. He was fun in Ant-Man and WandaVision. First Asian good guy in Marvel Comics, perhaps? I think the lack of copies for sale is the only reason it isn't flaming hot. Yes, first Jimmy Woo. You guys know I love Agents of Atlas. Every permutation of Agents of Atlas, I have been on board. Even when it was Venus and Marvel Boy and Moving Robot and Gorilla Man, Jimmy Woo was there. Now that it's New Agents of Atlas, Jimmy Woo was there. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When I was growing up, I loved S.H.I.E.L.D. Jimmy Woo was there. I've always loved the character of Jimmy Woo. And Yellow Claw is indeed the first appearance of Jimmy, and that's why I bought it. Now, one thing I've discovered, which is kind of a bummer, CGC notates that that is the first appearance of Jimmy Woo. CBCS does not. I don't know why it's not on the CBCS label. So get to it, Steve Borak. All right, that is our viewer mail for this week. Up next, Richard, you weren't here for this part. I had to do it solo, but it is time for the Instagram Market Watch with our friend Ali from Elite_Comics11. Let's get to it. And here he is now. What's up, Ali?
Hey, what's up?
You know, just another week. There's the weeks race by. I can't believe we're almost halfway through June already. This is nuts.
It's crazy. It's the opposite of last year. Last year felt like it took forever. This one's flying by. So
I'll take it. I'll take it. So speaking of flying by and flying out of here, you had a lot of activity last week.
Yeah, it was a big week on Elite Comics 11. So, we're doing this regular segment, Elite Comics 11 on Instagram, the premier marketplace.
I'm trying to print your name and I'm not having luck. There it is.
There. Oh, there you go. All right. So I got a few big sales that I want to feature as we normally do. So the first, Edge of SpiderVerse, #2, the first Spider-Gwen. It's actually, this one was the Greg Land variant.
Mm-hmm.
So an Elite 9.8 white pages, beautiful book. $6,000 it moved on the page.
Where is Richard for this one? This is when we need Richard, because this is his person. He loves some Spider-Gwen. And, I don't know if he has this variant. I know he has an Edge of Spider-Verse too, but I don't know if he has this. That's right on target with the last GPA sale of 6K, which just happened in May 2021. So someone maybe got a deal with no growth, maybe?
Well, it was a beautiful copy. Definitely there was a lot of interest in the book. I think it only lasted like a few minutes, actually. And I think it's because we got Enter the Spider-Verse 2. We know that's coming. And then people are excited for the, live action crossover potential into the MCU with a lot of these Spider-Man characters. So
I'm hearing a lot about Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness being some sort of portal for all of these multiverse characters to show up. It's in the title, people. So yeah, I don't blame anyone at all for grabbing that.
Yeah. So the next one I added is a book that's near and dear to your heart, Journey into Mystery Annual #1. So this is the first appearance of Hercules and Zeus, or should I say Russell Crowe. So we had a beautiful CGC 7.5 white pager hit the page, and that actually went for $3,000.
Hercules. A 7.5, you say? Okay, I guess that's acceptable. Do you know? I'll tell you the story behind this book. This is if you're listening on the audio version of this, this is my 8.0 Journey into Mystery Annual #1. I bought this at the California Comic Con, January 2020, right before everything exploded, and I paid $800 for it. And I told Richard, who was with me at the time, I really think I got ripped off. I think $800 was just ridiculous for this book, but I never see it in grades above 6, 5, 7. So I'm just going to do it, And now I'm sitting back like, la la la, time to build a new house.
Yeah, good for you. I think all the books I got ripped off of buying last year, I'm feeling pretty good about. But yeah,
the GPA on that, the last GPA sale on that was $2,225 last month, which I think was low. So $3K. This book is moving for reasons.
Yeah, I mean, we have our hand on the pulse on Elite Comics 11 because we get a lot of requests, and this has been a highly requested book, especially when you find one like this with good centering. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit. So we talked about white pages last time. Centering matters as well. I mean, you know, and that's, you want to show them kind of what we're talking about with centering?
It's an early annual, okay? It's an early Marvel annual, and these suckers were thick when they first came out. They were 60, they say 72 pages. They were 68 pages plus 4 pages for the cover, front and back. So they're kind of cheating on the 72. But you can see they're the glued spine. It's got a big, long black line where the printer is supposed to center it. That doesn't happen a lot. These things got out of register when they were on the printing press. This cover is also very white, front and back. It picks up every stain, every thumbprint, imperfection. You can clean the white areas, but it's a lot of work. And then you have a lot of people who are trying to press these annuals that don't know how to do it properly, and they squash the spine because the glue melts, and they don't have proper spacing there, and they haven't set their press correctly. So you see, you know me, this is one of my favorite characters is Herc. So I've been looking for this book for a long time. I see so many damaged copies and dirty copies. Something above a 7.0 in this annual is just, it's really tough. And so I'm not surprised by the range of prices for this book.
Yep. So awesome copy. Congrats to the seller and the buyer.
Yes.
So the last book we'll cover is a monster. I mean, literally, Hulk, Incredible Hulk #1. So let me just kind of give some context here. So this particular copy, I mean, a monster 5.0 off-white to white pages, older, you know, relatively older CGC slab. So some people like that. And it has, you know, I would say no chipping, maybe a tiny, tiny bit of chipping, but it looks great. The color is phenomenal. $30,000.
Not surprising. I know it sounds crazy, but we have to put this into context. Second Marvel Universe book after Fantastic Four. So it was FF, then the Hulk. You can kind of count Ant-Man if you really want to with Tales to Astonish 27, but we're going to skip that one because it wasn't Ant-Man until 35, which was after the Hulk. So the thing about Hulk, #1, dark cover. So again, every imperfection is picked up, every spine tick, every bend, every tiny crease becomes just multiplied. And when they were printing this book, the blades got dull very quickly. That's what causes Marvel chipping, are the dull blades. As the print run keeps going and going, the blades get duller, it gets more raggedy along that right-hand edge of the front cover, and eventually it starts peeling up and then chipping off. So to get a Hulk #1 with not a lot of Marvel chipping, they even call it Marvel chipping because it's such a known problem, that is tough. And this book, the Hulk, was a flop, canceled after 6 issues. Not a lot of copies out there. Tons were returned. Tons were stripped of the logo and resold to resellers. So there's a reason why Hulk #1 is one of the heavy Marvel keys.
Yeah, this was, I mean, crazy grail for a lot of people. It's one of the most requested books. I will say that after this one moved, all of a sudden, everybody who was interested was asking if we were going to have another one. So congratulations, especially to the buyer on this one. But, you know, I think it's true across all the Silver Age keys right now. A lot of the supply has just dried up. So when you have a book like this hit, there's a lot of excitement to pick it up. So
there are 3 of them that, you know, are just slam dunks. You almost name your own price at this point when it comes to Marvel Silver Age. Amazing Fantasy 15, any Hulk #1, and FF #1. And that's because you said the scarcity. There's no one's given up their copies. They got them. They're holding on to them. A lot of outside investors, if you want to call them, not quite the collectors, but people who used to run the stock market and love themselves some Dogecoin, they're buying these books as well and holding on to them. So it doesn't surprise me. $30K for a 5.0, the last GPA, you throw it out. It doesn't even matter. It's $16,000, but that was last January, 2020, not this 2021.
Literally in a different world. January of last year, different world. Yeah.
I bought that Journey into Mystery annual for $800 January 2020, and there's no way you would get an 8.0 for $800 now. So it doesn't surprise me, Ollie.
That's it for this week, but can't wait to talk about next week. So.
All right. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe you'll sell, a Marvel Comics #1. Who knows what'll come to market? Remind everybody where they can find you.
Yeah. So you can visit us at elite_comics11 on Instagram. And like I said, it's Instagram's premier consignment page. So if you need help selling books, just give us a DM.
Yeah, it's just plain fun. I love the live sales. And, sometimes if I get too obnoxious in the chat, just slap me down, ban me, whatever you need to do.
Nah, it's great to see you on there, man.
All right. Thanks. We'll see you next week.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Ali. Hey, Richard, you're back.
Hey, I'm here only for a minute.
I know. What? Richard's a busy man. He's making a living. He's got a family. He's got mouths to feed. So he was not here for our guest spot for underrated book of the week, but I'll handle it, Richard. Don't worry. You sit back, put your feet up. I'll get you a coffee or something. We're going to welcome Hiram. I call him Hiram. His name's actually pronounced Hiram because he's from Cuban, he has Cuban heritage, but everybody else calls him Hiram. So call him Hiram from Hiram's Collectibles on Instagram, and let's join that interview already in progress. I want you guys to meet one of my favorite people on Instagram. He is awesome. If you've ever seen his live sale, you can't help but smile because the energy is infectious. He is really someone that's, it sounds like BS or a cliche, but he's really into the community aspect of things. He's not here just to make money and sell books. He actually is a fan. And I know him as Hiram. You probably know him as Hiram. Here he is. It's Hiram from Hirams_collectibles on Instagram. What is up?
What's up, John? Thank you for having me on the show. I'm a big fan.
Oh, well, back at you. Mutual Admiration Society in effect. All right. You're here for your underrated book pick.
I am.
I'm not going to try to guess what it is. Because if I guess what it was, I think it's pretty obvious your love for Captain Marvel Jr. and I'm blanking on his name, McRoy.
McRoy, yes.
Right. So I'm not going to guess because that's too obvious. What is your underrated book?
My underrated book of the week is actually going to be the Free Comic Book Day issue #0, first appearance of Simon Baz as the Green Lantern, but also it's going to be in tandem Justice League #31, the first appearance of Jessica Cruz as a Green Lantern.
Now, I've heard of the Jessica Cruz one in Green Lantern. So what's the Free Comic Book Day one?
So the Free Comic Book Day 0 was the introduction to this character known as Simon Baz. He is a Muslim Green Lantern. You probably see him. He has the ski mask on looking, and he flies around with the gun. He's a newer Lantern from that Jeff Johns era. So his origin story is he grew up rough. He was hijacking cars one day. And he ended up stealing a van filled with explosives that was meant to blow up a bridge, a terrorist attack. So they all were framing him for that terrorist attack. During this time, Hal Jordan and Sinestro, they had a mutual shared ring, and that ring was lost. So that ring ended up finding him, and the Justice League was trying to hunt him down. Everyone was trying to get this man because they thought he was a terrorist, and Hal Jordan ended up, helping him with that situation, ended up training him. And I really like that character for the reason that the HBO show was announced last year. We got released that Alan Scott was going to be in it, the original Green Lantern from All American 16. We have Guy Gardner, Sinestro, Kilowog, Jessica, and Simon. Now, if you look at the trends in sales for all of these people or all of these characters, Green Lantern #59, the first appearance of Guy Gardner, has been blowing out
of course,
the stratosphere. Yeah, I mean, I have a copy right here. I bought that copy from We Can Be Heroes Comics for $800. It's the 92 white pages. That book can go easily over the 3K mark right now, and I only bought it a couple months ago. So the story is actually going to be centered around the first two parts of the story is going to be through time Green Lanterns. In the 1940s, a homosexual Alan Scott, FBI agent, a secret homosexual FBI agent, Alan Scott. And then it's going to be a future 1980s rugged cop Guy Gardner storyline. Yeah, it's really good.
It's funny, you know, I'm older than dirt. I bought my Green Lantern 59 when it was a hot book back in 1987 when he was first featured in Justice League. That's when Guy Gardner first got hot, and I paid a whopping $40 for it, and I thought I was getting ripped off.
Yeah, that's I mean, for a while, I mean, you could have gotten this book last year at any point in a nice 7.0 for maybe $200 max. You know, like the book is just taking off now. I mean, you've seen around the community, people are just asking for Lantern left and right. I really truly believe that this Green Lantern show is going to be the next step for DC. I think they're going to put all their eggs in it. If you remember, for the Justice League movie, the redo by Snyder, the Snyder cut, he specifically wanted Jon Stewart to be in the movie, but they decided to replace the army official with Martian Manhunter instead. I think it's because they secretly had plans for the Lantern and they didn't want to associate him with that. So I think they have big plans for Green Lantern. And right now you should be grabbing all the Green Lantern first appearances, in my opinion.
It's kind of exciting because Marvel gets all the press. Marvel gets all the hype when it comes to this movie, the MCU and all that stuff. And it's nice to see some DC, some juice happening here with the DC property, because, you know, they've been like the Hertz of rental cars. #2, they try harder. I forget which one is #2, but it's nice to see DC getting a little bit of love. This is the second week in a row on the show that someone has picked a DC book as being underrated. So that's encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, and it's about time, in my opinion. I mean, Green Lantern, the universe was just so well made. I mean, we have our bad stories. I mean, you know, but Blackest Night was my favorite, you know, big event of the 2000s. I think what Jeff Johns did, bringing in the color spectrum, brought a lot of people into it, you know. So another underrated book that may go under the radar is Green Lantern 25 from that Jeff Johns run. It's the first appearance of the color spectrum, Atrocitus, Larfleeze. I mean, you want to just grab all of them, in my opinion, because you see them going up, and especially these modern ones. I mean, you've seen what happens to other modern books with variants as well. Just grab them.
We had Mint Hunter Comics on last week, and he had picked Tales of the Green Lantern Corps #2, the first appearance of Necron.
Yeah,
which I thought was a really interesting pick. He had us guess who made their first appearance in that issue, and I guessed Chip.
Yeah, no, that's such a good one, because the creme de la creme of Green Lantern stories is that Blackest Night. That's how you're going to pull people in. And I mean, Necron, he's the antagonist. Him in tandem with a Green Lantern 29, you have a Black Hand. Yeah, I mean, you put those together. I mean, that has to be the Thanos of the Green Lantern universe.
I have to ask you, what did you think of the Ryan Reynolds movie?
I have to say, I forgot what the name of the actor was who played Sinestro, but I believe he played a phenomenal Sinestro. He looked just like him. Hector Hammond, not so much. And I didn't like the dialogue, but
you know, it wasn't great, but it wasn't like, you know, ooh, get this off my TV screen now. I was able to finish it, unlike, you know, something like Wonder Woman 84 that I got.
What did they do to Maxwell Lord, man?
No, such a shame.
So good.
Yeah, well, you know, you could also say, what do they do to Maxwell Lord in Identity Crisis? Because I was a Maxwell Lord stan from way back when, you know, and he was manipulative, but he wasn't downright evil. But they, you know, people change.
No, I drew the line with Maxwell Lord once he shot one of my favorite characters in the head. I was not okay with that. Nope.
I call it Infinity Crisis. It tells you how much I have Marvel on the brain. Identity Crisis, which, you know, I know you love DC. I love DC until Identity Crisis. That's what really drove me away. That was my breaking point. for DC. Now I've dipped my toe back here and there, and I don't know if you've seen on the show our friend Evan, who is a huge DC fan, is always hammering Richard and I to give it another chance. So I do like Wonder Girl.
Yeah,
the Wonder Girl.
I haven't read it.
It's really good. So Green Lantern, I'm going to have to check this out because I keep hearing great things about it, and I do not want to be left behind.
I think it's going to be the revitalization of DC, at least with HBO.
All right, you have planted your flag in the ground. We will check back in a year with you.
That is my hill. I'll die on that hill.
Die on that Green Lantern hill. Charge your ring, and we want to remind everybody where they can find you.
At Hiram's_collectibles. I do live sales every Monday night, and I'm always lurking in everybody else's live sales because at the end of the day, I do this because I need friends, not because I need money.
I love that. Thanks for joining us. We'll have you back again real soon, okay?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Hiram. Hey, Richard, you're back.
I'm magical. Sorry.
Oh, well, you're back just in time to close us out. Where can people find us?
They can find us at Bronze and Modern Gods on Facebook and Instagram, or the website bronzeandmoderngods.com.
And if you do not like or subscribe or hit that notification bell, we won't hate you, but we'd like you a lot more if you would do that. It's very helpful to us. And all sorts of new people coming over from our friend Mint Hunter Comics. Thank you for that, James.
Thank you.
Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you. Hope you stick around a little bit, and we will see you Monday.
Everybody stay safe.